Cadillac. 60 and 60 makes 120 mile an hour impact. She was airlifted out of the crash site. Horrible brain injury to the point where brushing her teeth required her to stop and think, grab the toothbrush with hands, and manually brush teeth. She did quite a bit of rehab. It's getting back to the point where she could brush her teeth, she could walk. We went on I was a marathon runner at the time, and she would like to get out and exercise with me. She went running with me, and I'm always faster than she was. We just had a rule that if I had to come to a fork in the road, had to make a right or a left, whatever, I would either leave an obvious sign, some rocks, make a little arrow that I went that way, or that would be where I would take my break, and I would wait until she catches up. So I was at a fork in the road, and I was waiting for her to catch up, and it took a little longer than I expected, so I went back, and lo and behold, her knees were all bloody because I had run across a rock bed that I didn't think twice about. I ran across the rocks, but her brain could not manage to get her across the rocks. So what does all this have to do with that? Long before we discovered the Libertarian Party, but long before we started thinking about all these types of things, she's disabled, which we will not call her disabled because that is grammatically incorrect. It is a handicap. Disabled are the people that are in the graveyard. She'll tell you that. If I was disabled, I'd be in the graveyard. I have a handicap, I've overcome that handicap, and I'm getting better every day. So with that said, she applied for Social Security disability, and of course she qualified for it. She had hired an attorney, got the Social Security disability. Fast forward, as her cognitive rehab continued to work, and she continued to get better and better, to the point where she could maintain lifestyle and go back to work. There's rules with Social Security disability that you can work X number of hours and you'll still continue to get Social Security disability, and then after you get to a certain point, then you will come off of that. Great theory, right? We would all approve of such a thing, except you can't get off of Social Security disability when you no longer need it. She literally had to hire an attorney in order to shut off the Social Security disability benefits. Now, initially went down that road of she's afraid that because she's getting this money and she's already got a steady income, that they're going to come get her. But we find out it's the exact opposite. You want to do what? You don't want to collect checks anymore? Literally had to hire an attorney, cost us over $10,000 just to get her off of the rolls of Social Security disability. So, she is the loudest and proudest advocate of privatized aid and assistance that there is, because the Social Security disability system, once you get in, getting back out again is nearly impossible. And just imagine the amount of waste that is taking place as a government-run aid system, as opposed to if it was run in the free market, when you say, thank you very much for the help. Now that I can work, I'd like to help the next guy, which is the libertarian philosophy, that she is a libertarian, and she, if she were here today, I'm sure she would tell you that story. Sadly, we are divorced, and so I can't speak for her at this point, but even knows that that's exactly the argument that she was making when she was active within the party, of the fact that the government-run aid is set up to make sure that you are permanently part of the needy class and that you can never work your way back out. And so that is the reason. That is my story for those who believe that helping is important in your life. There's far better ways of doing it than having some government bureaucracy run it. So that's my story.
I'm thinking from here would be really good is to tap into the stories that you have, your questions, your ideas, etc. Sharon, does that sound like a good idea? Because I think one of the things we want to do is find out how you have been able to use communication, how you've been able. Hi there.
Excuse me.
Hi.
Oh, you're I apologize. I got wrapped up in the floor.
Oh, okay. Well, so we want to hear from you, and also Ruth might have some things that she would want to say. Ruth, did you have something that you wanted to share with us?
Well, I'm sorry that I missed this. I deeply apologize. I set an alarm in my clock and, oh well.
That's all right. You're right on time, actually. You finished all of us, so it's your turn.
Here, I'll tell you,
Okay.
Ruth, I will give you this.
We're doing vice presidential nominations, which has absolutely been fascinating. We have some fascinating characters. We have women, we have Muslims, we have old white men, we have African Americans. We have an amazing assortment. It's just wonderful to watch the enthusiasm that's going on right now. The vote's about to start. If you are delegates, you probably should pay attention, but I just want to, I'm sorry I missed this, but I want to tell you a little bit about my experience running for governor in Washington State. So I catch my breath as I ran up here. In 2004, I was a libertarian candidate for governor in Washington State. I took a look at, and with the advice of some people in Washington State, took a look at the candidates and decided that the Republican was moderately less odious than the Democrat by a nose.
And who was that?
That was Christine Gregoire, was the Democrat, and Dino Rossi was the Republican. So I sat down with a couple of people, and a friend of mine there, a gentleman by the name of Jay Mills, developed a strategy which he calls running to the right, running to the left. And this was likely to be a very close race. And any time there's a close race, libertarians should be able to determine who the winner would be. Now, I'd like to say that we're going to win every race we get into, but between you and me and the walls, not likely. But if we can determine who's going to be the winner, that's a pretty powerful place to be in, and I'll take that as a good runner-up to winning. So in this race, in talking to Jay, I decided to run hard to the left. I decided that I would try to take votes away from, or take votes for people who were more likely to vote for the Democrat. So I am a lesbian, and I ran hard on a platform of marriage equality. In 2004, I was the first candidate ever to have a statement in the voters' guide in favor of marriage equality and decriminalization of marijuana. Two things that I will say the voters in Washington State have since passed by initiative.
It was you that started it.
Well, you know, I was a piece of it. There were lots of good people doing this and lots of good people that took it on after I did, but at least I got a really solid conversation going. So those are my two big issues. And when everything settled out, at the end of the campaign, I got around, I don't remember the figure, 65,000, 67,000 votes. The Democrat won by 132 votes. 132 votes. It had actually been 129. If you look at Wikipedia, it may still be 129. I keep going in and correcting it. Someone else keeps putting it at 129. But there was a big lawsuit afterwards. I mean, it was fascinating. It was fascinating to be the person that totally screwed up the electoral system in Washington State for 6 months. It was fun. But just quickly, the Democrats listened to what the judge said in the court case, and he said, if you're going to show me that there were bad votes in this, that felons voted or whatever, you're going to have to actually bring me affidavits from felons. The Republicans didn't listen. Democrats went out and got affidavits from 4 felons, 3 of whom said that they voted for the Republican, and 1 of whom said he voted for me, so I got 25% of the felon vote. So he awarded, he took those votes away from the Republican, and so the Democrat ended up winning by 132 votes. So this running to the left and running to the right is really important. I'm going to add one thing in there is the same Jay Mills went to the Republican campaign and said, you know, if you guys pay for a mailing to the LGBT community, take out some ads in the Seattle Gay News for Ruth, you're probably going to win because it's a close race. You peel off 0.5% in King County, Seattle, very strong Democrat stronghold, you're likely to win. And the candidate said, that's a great idea. And his campaign manager said, I don't think so. And he lost by 132 votes. My point in telling this story is we do have opportunities in talking to Democrats and also talking to Republicans, but there are also opportunities to build bridges. There are opportunities to go to a campaign and say, you know, I'd rather your guy win. Now, I don't have the money, the finance, the structure that you do, but if we can work together, we can probably take out that guy, take out the Democrat, or take out the Republican. In a close race,